Alrighty, so hello everybody and welcome to our continuation of the second year experience webinar series. I am so excited to have some special guests on to do a virtual etiquette dinner today. So I'd love to present from Career Services, Ms. Kim Bilodeau, and from Residence Life, Ms. Malin Aldana, or Dr. Aldana, and Rochelle Lewis and Jonathan Brown. So I will turn it over to y'all.
Okay. We're having a little bit more technical difficulty, but that is okay. We are going to move ahead without the clicker.
We are so excited to be with all of you this evening. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. We are super excited to talk to you about dining and business etiquette. And we are so fortunate to have two of our Res Life staff members with us here today to demonstrate to you what you should and shouldn't do as it relates to dining etiquette. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves.
Okay, 1 second. Let me unshare.
Hi everyone, my name is Rochelle. I am the area coordinator for Baker and Huger Hall, and this is my second year on staff.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Brown. I'm the area coordinator for my Southwest Maine area, which consists of Agnes Evers Hall, Legacy Park Apartments, Cajun Village Apartments, and the New Heritage Apartments. I have been on staff a little bit over 3 years now, so some of y'all may know me, some of y'all don't. I can't wait to see what y'all learn from this experience. If y'all want to talk afterwards, both Rochelle and I have gone through it a few times, so we would love to talk with you and grow together.
Thank you so much, Jonathan and Rochelle. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We are, again, apologize for the delay, but we want to make sure we stay on track with our presentation. So we want to just start with letting you know how important manners are. So whether you're in the classroom, whether you're in your part-time job, as you become a professional, you need to understand how much manners can go a long way in the workplace. And so that's why we feel it's so important that you, as a UL Lafayette student, go through this practice, this exercise early on, so that you can make a good first impression when you get to the real job interview, or get to that internship interview. So just know that please and thank you are still magic words in the workplace. So just a few tips before the meal. You always want to make sure you turn off your cell phone. So that is very disruptive in the workplace. That is very disruptive in a job interview, but in a professional meal, you want to make sure that you leave it in your car or you have it turned off. You always check in and determine your location at the table. Find and introduce yourself to the guest and to the host. So the host is the person that invited you. So you always want to make sure you introduce yourself to the host, whether you are going into someone's home, you're going to a party, you're going to a networking reception. It's like we always say, get to know your professor. In the classroom, you need to get to know the host in any type of business or social event. Shake hands with everyone at the table, and we're going to do a little demonstration for you in just a few minutes. And then we want to make sure that you understand good conversation. And so the conversations you're having with your friends, your family, that's different than what you're going to have in a business environment. So in a professional environment, in a business environment, you don't want to ask personal questions. You want to stick to questions about current events, about your career, about, just kind of what's going on, and asking them for their advice. Don't ask them about, about money. Don't ask them about religion, politics. So you want to stay away from that, especially in the business arena. And so name tags and handshakes. So what we're going to do very quickly, we're going to go ahead and switch over so that you can see Jonathan and Rochelle, and they're going to do some great demonstrations for you in name tags and handshakes. So Jonathan, Rochelle, so when you get a name tag, your name tag should be placed high on the right side. So the reason for that is when you go to shake someone's hand, your eye is focused on the right side. So that's why you always want your name tag high on the right side. So speaking of handshakes, let's see that handshake one more time. So you want to touch webs, and then you want to grasp and give a good firm handshake. There's nothing like a wimpy, cold, fishy handshake That is a deal breaker in the business arena. So you want to be confident. Give them a good, confident, firm handshake. Thank you, Jonathan and Rochelle. So we're going to go back to the PowerPoint very quickly, and we're going to talk about some basic table manners. So when in doubt, always watch your host or host. You always want to sit up straight. Don't chew with your mouth open or make loud noises when you eat. If you have any special eating requirements, let the host or hostess know when you're invited. So if you have any allergies, etc., just let the host or hostess know and they'll be happy to accommodate you. There's no such thing as fashionably late in the business world. So do know when you're invited, you need to be early. And then last, consider your host preference when asking for a to-go box. So to-go boxes are not automatic. If you're not paying, you shouldn't ask for it to go. That is the rule. So it's fine when you're with friends and family, but in the business arena, the rules are a little different. Never sit before your host or hostess. Always hold your utensils correctly. You want to sit up and bring the food to your mouth. Don't bring your mouth to the food. So we don't want to lean in over our plate and shovel food in our mouth. We want to sit up straight, take your food and bring it up to your mouth. So let's look at some things not to do. And we're going to switch it back over to Jonathan and Rochelle to show us what we should not do. So there's food on the table. Elbows should not be on the table. So you should not have your elbows anywhere on the table, no. When food is present on the table. You can, however, put your wrist on the table. Exactly, just like what Rochelle and Jonathan are doing. You don't want to get too comfortable. You want to sit up straight. You don't want to slouch. You don't want to lean back. You don't want to lean into your plate. None of that. Very good. That is exactly what not to do, Jonathan. And don't share your food. So this is not the middle school cafeteria. So this is not where we can, trade. If I give you my bread, can I have your dessert? When you are at a business function, your food is your food and you should not share your food, even if someone else's looks better than yours. And then last, never ever use your cell phone at a business meal. So that is very, very distracting. If you have your cell phone sitting on the table, if your cell phone goes off and you grab it and answer it, again, in the business world, sometimes you have to detach from the phone because, especially if you're on a job interview, it is considered very, very impolite to answer your cell phone or answer any messages while you are on that interview. And then last, always be very polite to the wait staff. So the wait staff is there to help you and guide you. How you treat them says a lot about how you treat others. And so a lot of times, if you're on a job interview, they're going to look at how you interact with the wait staff. And they're going to see that you're saying please and thank you to the wait staff, because that gives them a good indication of how you might handle your customers or how you might handle your coworkers in the workplace. So just some very, very good tips there. So next, we're going to look at starting the meal. So I am going to very quickly, just if you can take a look at the layout that Jonathan and Rochelle have in front of them, their silverware, their napkin, their plate, their drink. So we're going to point all of these out to you. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the napkin. So the napkin, you shouldn't put your napkin in your lap until your host or hostess puts theirs on their lap. But at this point, we're going to go ahead and put our napkin on our lap. After everyone sits, you can put your napkin on your lap. So you want to fold your napkin in half. So if you look at how they're demonstrating, that napkin is folded. So you want to take the napkin like that and fold it in half, and you want to lay it in your lap. So the napkin should stay in your lap throughout the entire meal. So once it lays in your lap, you shouldn't take it on and off unless you have to excuse yourself from the table. So let's say you do have to excuse yourself from the table. We're going to show you what to do with the napkin. You don't place it on the table when you excuse yourself. What you want to do is you want to place it on the back of your chair. Exactly. That is perfect. So you're going to put it on the back of your chair as such. And when you return to the table, you just pick up your napkin and place it back in your lap and leave it in your lap until you are completely finished of your meal. So let's now take a look at the table setting. So as you can see, Jonathan and Rochelle are going to point out your silverware is laid on the sides of your plate. So on the left side, you have your forks. So you have your salad fork, then your dinner fork. Your salad fork is generally smaller than the dinner fork. So, but know that even if they're the same size, you should always use the one all the way to the left side first. So you go by course, use your silverware from the outside, working your way in. Your crystal, your drinks are always on the right side. So you want to make sure that you always grab the right glass. So grab the glass that's on the right side. And we're going to show you a few easy tips to help you remember that. Sometimes with formal dinners, there's a lot more setting, there's a lot more crystal, china, silverware. But if you know these basics, you'll be able to navigate any type of dinner setting. So just a few tricks to show you. So one trick that we like to share with students is BMW. So if you look at your setting in front of you, it will be in the order of bread on the left side, meal in the middle, and water on the right. So bread, meal, water. It should go in that order. You can also make a B and a D with your hands. B, D. So the B is for, guess what? Bread. The D is for drinks. How easy is that? So make the B and D, and you know that D, you should be able to reach out and always grab your drink. Know that with confidence that glass is yours because it's on the right-hand side. Very good. Thank you so much, Jonathan and Rochelle. So we're going to switch back to the PowerPoint. And we're going to talk about what to order. So to show you're ready to order, you should, after you look over the menu, you should fold the menu, close it, and put it on the table to show that you're ready to order. If there are items on the menu you are uncertain about, you want to ask the server, get your questions answered about any food items that you're not sure about. I tell students when you're going on a job interview, try to stick with something you know. And also try to stick within a reasonable price range. So they are likely going to be paying for the meal, but you don't want to order 6 courses and they're ordering 2. You don't want to order the steak and lobster, the most highest priced item on the menu, and they're only having a salad. So you want to always try to sort of keep it in the middle. And so making sure, though, that if you have any questions, that you ask the waitstaff ahead of ordering your food. And order things that are easy to eat. Would we want to order linguine or spaghetti while we're on a job interview? Likely not. If pasta is on the menu, you might want to stick with a short pasta, a bow tie, a penne, something that's shorter that you don't have to twirl and twist and have a complicated time trying to navigate eating that meal while you're selling yourself in the interview. Try to avoid using your hands too. So you want to avoid items such as French fries or pizza. Try to use something that you have to use your fork and knife or spoon to eat. So generally a 4-course meal would consist of soup, salad, entree, and dessert. So the courses, that is just a guideline of how many items will be brought out during the meal. But generally that 4-course includes those items. When it comes to drinks, you should always keep it simple. Iced tea, water, soft drinks. You want to make sure with any drink that you're not chewing your ice. You want to make sure that you cup your hand around the lemon wedge when you're squeezing lemon into your drink, and always use a moderate amount of sweetener. So I love sweet tea, But I wouldn't use 5 or 6 packs of sugar in my tea if I was on a job interview or if I was out, in a business setting. So moderation is always the key. And that goes with everything at the table. That goes with your sugar and sweetener, that goes with your salad dressing, anything that you serve yourself, always remember moderation. And so the other point of this that I do want to mention is oftentimes companies will take candidates out to eat and they will serve alcohol. And so this is something that we, need to let candidates know. You need to be very careful because you are on a job interview. You are trying to sell yourself. And so you don't want to be that candidate that overdoes it. So you just need to be aware that even though they're picking up the tab, you don't have to, overdo it with the food and or with the drinks. So just, just be very careful. Okay. What we're going to do, we're going to talk about passing food, and we're going to go ahead and switch back to Jonathan and Rochelle so they can demonstrate this for you. So Jonathan and Rochelle, when it comes to passing food, the rule to remember is if it's in front of you, go ahead and start passing it to the right. So everything will always go around the table counterclockwise, so to the right. So whenever you pass something, so Rochelle's going to pretend that the bread basket is in front of her. So she's going to take it and she's going to go ahead and start and pass it around to Jonathan. Now, if you pass it around, you shouldn't take one until it comes back to you. So if it's in front of you, it should go around the table. And when it reaches back to you, then you take a bread. So that if it's in front of you, doesn't mean you get first dibs on the best bread in the basket. It just means that you go ahead, let it pass around. When it comes back to you, you can take it. The next thing is salt and pepper. So what we never want to reach into someone's area to grab something. So if that salt and pepper is out of your range, just what Jonathan did and reach over, you don't want to do that. You always want to make sure you ask, please pass the salt and pepper, and Rochelle will grab it and pass it down. Now with the salt and pepper, you should always keep the salt and pepper together at the table. Never split the two up. So keep them together and that will make for an easier meal. So let's go ahead and start looking at our dining. And so at this point, due to COVID, we have certain regulations that we have to keep in place. So with that, keeping your mask on is what you should do until you start eating, until the meal is served. And so where to put your mask when you take it off is also another question that might be on your mind right now. And so you don't want to put your mask on a surface if you plan on putting it back on when you leave the table. And so what we recommend that you do is that whenever you do take it off, is that you maybe fold it up, place it in your purse, place it in a pocket. If you don't have access to that, you might want to just put it in your lap and maybe put your napkin on top of it. But you don't want to just leave it sitting on the table. And so I know some individuals who will bring a Ziploc bag with them or some sort of container where they can put it in while they're eating to keep it away from the surface. Okay, so let's go ahead and start talking about the American style of dining. So with this style, this is where you will take your fork if you need to cut your food. So you're going to have your fork in your left hand and your knife in your right hand, and you're going to start cutting your food. Now, what we don't want to do is we don't want to cut up the entire piece of chicken at once or the entire steak at once. You only cut 2 or 3 small bites at a time, and then you eat those 2 or 3 bites. Very good. So what we also want to do is let you know when you're eating, when you go to talk or go to take a sip of your drink, you want to put your fork and your knife rested on your plate. So the resting position should be your knife laid across the top of your plate, exactly, just like that. So you don't want to have it half on the plate and half on the table. It should lay across the top of your plate, and you always want the serrated edge of the knife facing you. So that means the sharper edge should face in. It should always face you. And then whenever you want to put your fork down, you will just lay your fork diagonally across the middle, bottom of your plate with the tines up. Because the tines up was a signal to the waitstaff that you're still eating. If the tines are down, it lets the waitstaff know that you're finished eating. So just make sure that you're following those guidelines. Now, whenever you're talking, you want to leave your fork and knife down. You don't want to talk with that in your hands. And then whenever you're ready to cut and eat another piece, you pick up your knife, you pick up your fork, you cut, you take another bite. So oftentimes I'll have students that will ask, should we eat in any particular way, or should we eat all of our protein first and then move on to our vegetable? But the choice is yours. So there's really no method of eating. You just want to make sure you're comfortable. You want to make sure you're holding your utensils correctly, and you want to make sure that you're setting your fork and knife down in the correct position when you are still eating. Now, at the end of the meal, you want to make sure you're placing your knife and fork laid across parallel to each other, just like that, Jonathan, and then put your fork with the tines down. So if you can see how they have it down, and I'm going to show you this on a PowerPoint slide in just a minute, this is signaling that you are finished. So if I'm the wait staff and I see this signal, I don't have to interrupt your conversation and ask you if you are finished with your meal, because this lets me know you are finished, and I can come and take that plate away from you. Okay, very good. Thank you so much. Okay, so we're going to switch back to the PowerPoint very quickly. Okay, so just to kind of go over, so we talked about the placement, how to hold your fork and knife. We talked about the resting position, where the fork is across the bottom of your plate and the knife is laid across the top. And then the finished position. So this is how your fork and knife should look when you are completely finished with your meal. Okay, so now that we're finished with our meal, and we're sorry we interrupted your chicken, but we'll keep eating that. But we want to talk about some situations you may find yourself in and how to handle those situations. And then certainly if you have any questions whatsoever, I think Ashley is manning the chat. So ask away, because we want to answer your questions. So food and beverage spills. So if you spill something, it's okay. It happens. Accidents happen. You can use your napkin. Let's say you spill your drink. It is okay to use your napkin to quickly contain the spill. But other than that, you should not use your napkin for anything else. It's to stay on your lap. Also with your napkin, let's talk about if you have to sneeze at the table. So you should not sneeze into your napkin. You should actually turn your head to the back of your arm and sneeze away from the table. Your napkin is not a handkerchief. So you want to make sure that you're not blowing your nose with your napkin. You want to make sure that you know how to handle those situations. Removing food from your teeth. So let's say you have food stuck in your teeth. Again, we're not going to use our napkin to rub our teeth and get the food out. We're not going to use our fork like what Jonathan just tried to do. We are definitely going to excuse ourselves from the table if we have to remove something from our teeth. We don't use a toothpick at the table either. So just excuse yourself. You don't need to say where you're going. Just excuse yourself from the table and go to the restroom and take care of it. Let's say you also have soiled or dropped silverware. So oftentimes, a dishwasher doesn't thoroughly clean the silverware. So if you have something soiled on it, you shouldn't make a big deal of it at the table. You should never draw attention to yourself or to the situation at the table. You want to handle it with grace. And so, just let the waitstaff know, can you please bring me another fork? That's all you need to do. Just keep it between you and the waitstaff. Okay, so let's take a look at some wrap up things to remember, and then I'm gonna turn it back over to Jonathan and Rochelle, and we're gonna answer your questions. So always arrive early. So you never want to cause the delay of game. So always arrive early. You always want to wait for the host to tell you where to sit, and then put your napkin in your lap after the host does. A legal procedure. So we don't want that to happen. We don't want to use our napkin to blow our nose. We don't want to use our napkin to put spit unwanted objects in. So definitely make sure that you're using your napkin appropriately throughout the meal. Past interference. So we never want to, intercept something from someone else. We never want to reach and take something from someone else. We always want to ask, please pass the salt, please pass the bread. Illegal use of hands. Do not reach for items beyond your grasp. Again, that's a no. And then illegal motion. So keep your elbows in. No elbows on the table except between courses or when there's no food on the table. Unnecessary roughness. So that means you should always be kind to the cook, especially when dining in someone's home. Don't say you don't like something. So it's okay. We don't like everything we try, but if you're in someone's home, you don't want to tell them that. You want to still be polite and and just thank them so much for taking the time to cook dinner for you. Don't lose patience with the wait staff also. So we want to make sure that, again, that we're very polite and very kind to the wait staff. Don't talk or take a drink with food in your mouth. Don't use a toothpick and chew ice. And then no grooming at the table. So if we have to powder our nose or put lipstick on, play with our hair, we don't want to do any of that at the table. And then fumble. If you spill something, you definitely want to, apologize, let the wait staff know so they can come and help to quickly clean it up. And then finally, when the meal is over, you don't want to stack your dishes. The wait staff will come and remove everything that's there, so just leave it as is. And this is finally the time when you can put your napkin back on the table because you are completely finished with your meal and you can go ahead and put your napkin on the table. So let's go ahead and we're going to stop the PowerPoint. We're going to go back to camera. And so at this point, napkin is on the table. We're finished with our meal. Our table, our knife and fork are in the proper location. We're ready to leave and we can put our mask back on to exit. That is correct. So do we have any questions, Ashley?
So far, we do not have any questions. Please feel free to use the chat feature or feel free to unmute your mic if you do have any questions. I have one from a personal. How do you practice some of these etiquette? I know that sometimes it can be intimidating going into your very first dinner interview or having dinner within an interview process. And so what are some tips and tricks in kind of practicing some of these things?
So I recommend if you get that table setting in front of you, you can use paper plates, you can use paper knife and fork. You don't have to have the silverware, but just go through it in your head and just say, okay, this fork is for my salad, this fork is for my entree, this is my dessert fork, and you just want to be comfortable with it. And I think that's what it comes down to, Ashley, is practice. So the more you practice this, the more comfortable you will become, and then you don't have to think about it anymore. It's natural at that point. So we in Career Services, we offer opportunities for dining etiquette dinners with meals so that you can practice. So definitely as a second year student, watch out for those because, certain student organizations, the RAs will host these. So we host these all throughout the semester where it's that practice time. We want our students to always put their best foot forward. And so this is just like practicing an interview. Practicing proper dining etiquette is what you should do as a student. So very good question. Do we have any other questions? Just a couple of, I held an etiquette dinner last week for first year students. And they had some really great questions, and you might be thinking these, but you're not asking. So I'm gonna just put a few of these out there. The first was a student asked, should you add seasoning, salt or pepper or whatever seasoning to your food before you taste it? And that was an excellent question, because the etiquette rule is you should never season your food before tasting it, because it's considered an insult to the chef. So you should always take a bite first, and then if it's not to your liking, add salt and pepper or whatever seasoning you need. So I thought that was a really, really great question. Another question that I had was, where do I place my purse whenever I'm going to a restaurant or to a business event? And the answer is, you should place it at your feet, on the ground at your feet, because if you hang it from the back of your chair, when the wait staff is serving your plate and picking up your plate, a lot of times that gets in the way of the wait staff, and so you want to leave that area clear for the wait staff. So sometimes if I just have a little clutch, I'll just sort of leave it on the seat, in my chair with me. But for the most part, you want to have that bulkier bag or that purse, put it at your feet so that it's not in the way of anyone walking or anyone passing at that could be or the wait staff that could be helping you out. So with that, Jonathan and Rochelle, would y'all have any final tips or any words of advice for our students?
I would just say, remember to have fun. It may seem like a very formal setting, but you're there to be comfortable and answer a lot of good questions, or even take the opportunity to ask a bunch of questions, because you may not have that one-on-one, or well, how should I say, like the I guess your supervisor, your potential supervisor, he may never let down his guard again, so just be comfortable, be yourself, and be there to impress.
My comment would be, utilize every opportunity as a learning opportunity. So the holidays, for example, if you're with your family, maybe don't overdo it with the full set, but definitely practice. So pass bread to the right, pass salt and pepper together, keep drinks on your right. And then as you go through your day-to-day, this becomes common knowledge. So when you are in an opportunity such as this with your interviewee or your interviewer, you already have the basic know-how. So like I said, maybe don't have all your forks and spoons laid out at Christmas dinner, but still be in the habit of passing to the right, keeping things together, knowing where your drinks and bread should be. And when it finally comes time to put all this stuff to use, you already got it.
Excellent. That is excellent advice. Thank you both so much. So if we don't have any additional questions, Megalyn and I are going to just kind of come back here behind Jonathan and Rochelle and join in. And
Awesome.
thank you, all of you, so much for being here. We're super excited. The semester's almost over. It's winding down. So we do thank you for taking time to be with us this evening. We wish you the best of luck. We can't wait to see you back on campus next semester. So thank you so much.
Thank you all so much. We did have one more question come in, and so I'd love to read this one. So Sean asks, if for whatever reason the person you're having a business meal with isn't following a number of the etiquette rules, should that affect my behavior at all?
That is a really great question. And that happens. Not everyone has done this or gone through this or knows. You should still follow those rules. You want to do the right thing. Even though they're not following the rules, you should still follow the rules. So don't take their lead at that point. Still stick to your training and what you know, because again, you want to put that best foot forward, and someone else may be watching, and so you just want to make sure that you are doing the right thing. So that is a really excellent question. So I hope that doesn't happen to you, but if it does, I hope you're very confident in how you're going to handle that situation. So great question.
Awesome. Do we have any other questions? Give some folks just a couple seconds. Awesome. So that looks like it's it. I want to thank y'all so much for your time and your expertise. This was even a great refresher for myself as a professional staff member. And so I really thank you all for your time. And congrats on eating lots of Cane's chicken. That looks amazing. And I'm very jealous.
We like Cane's too. Cane's with a knife and fork sometimes.
Absolutely. So before we leave, I want to remind everybody that this is our final second year experience webinar series for this semester. So thank you to everyone who tuned in and joined with us. We are looking at having some in-person second year experience series next semester. So keep a lookout for that. Maybe we'll revisit this topic and do an in-person etiquette dinner. So definitely be on the lookout. Additionally, if you did attend this session or any other previous sessions, you were entered in for a drawing to win a t-shirt. So definitely check out our website and check out our social media for that t-shirt. We'll make sure that we log the attendance for this and get you all set up. Also, you are eligible for a free coffee voucher for attending this session in particular. So congratulations. Malin and Kim, where can folks pick up that coffee voucher?
They can come and pick it up on Friday at the Student Union in room 169. It's
Awesome.
the Dean of Students office.
Awesome. Fantastic. We will let all of our attendees know. So thank you all so much. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your Monday evening, and until next time.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.